2025, it's January, and Game Pass. We're all looking forward to what the first announcement for Game Pass is. We know that Game Pass is going to be having a huge year, especially if all the first-party games do drop, hoping for some more backwards compatibility stuff from ABK, and a lot of the rumors that we have been seeing out there with some cool games coming over. But we have a leak here for 2 additional games that are dropping in the service in January. It's pretty awesome games. I mean, if you haven't played these before, you will be excited for them. So we'll take a look at that. Xbox have a huge opportunity, I think, with Master Chief and Doom. And they could do lots of crossovers, not only in video games, but in other methods like TV and movies and everything. And they had a chance at this, and apparently they shot it down, as well as Valve shooting down a chance of bringing Half-Life 3 to the screen, or Half-Life to the screen, I should say. GTA 6 is going to be one of the biggest games ever, if not the biggest game ever. We have some projections of how much money it's going to make in its first year. The Switch has another leak, and this one is very, very exciting for the Switch too. If they can pull this off, I think there's going to be a lot of great performing looking games on the Nintendo Switch 2, even with a lower power device. And PlayStation, I really hope they end up doing this, but they potentially are looking into actually bringing PlayStation 3 games emulated natively to PlayStation, not just being able to play them via the cloud. So we'll take a look at all of that stuff. But before we continue, if you do enjoy daily gaming news and content, make sure to hit the subscribe, share the video, all that stuff. And let's jump in here. Let's talk Game Pass and the games that are looking like are going to be coming over in January. At least 2 games that haven't been announced yet, but potentially are going to be dropping onto Game Pass. This comes via Ecstasies, who has gotten another Game Pass stuff correct. He must have a list of Game Pass games that are coming because he's gotten the previous ones correct, so you could probably expect these ones as well. And this has to do with Diablo, their first game, Blizzard's first game here, coming to PC Game Pass this month, which would be very, very cool if you're somebody who hasn't experienced the first one and you want to jump in. Now you'll be able to do it via PC Game Pass, and this just adds to more back catalog games coming into the service, a part of that ABK acquisition. This is not one we've seen kind of being updated, I don't believe, where there were a lot of rumors surrounding it coming over to the service, but they are dropping this. And again, they've been updating older games in their back catalog, like the Transformers games and the Marvel games, where it was looking like that you're going to actually be able to purchase these now and play them. And hopefully they do drop into Game Pass, or at least playable as well via the cloud if you did purchase them. So they'll be in that Play Anywhere service. We don't know if those are going to happen anytime soon, but they are updating, they are doing things, and I hope they do make their way to the service itself. And then the other game that is going to be coming over via EA Play and Game Pass Ultimate is going to be UFC 5. That will be dropping in January of 2025. So if you're a fan of the UFC games, the latest one here is going to be coming into the service, and that's going to be on top of whatever else we do get in January. It's going to be a big month here for Xbox in January, because more likely than not, we're going to be getting the Developer Direct, where we will be seeing deeper dives into the major games coming out this year. I'm thinking one of the early games that will be released from the first party will be South of Midnight, so I'm sure we'll see a lot about that. They're already periodically putting out gameplay trailers of it, or just deep dive gameplay showing like combat and everything, and the game looks phenomenal. So hopefully that one will be there. And then we'll see kind of more of a roadmap as to when we should expect those first party games into Game Pass on day one. But I'm really looking forward to seeing how they flesh out this service this year, because they have so many first party games, but they're still going to have to bring other stuff to the table, because not everybody wants to just play the first party games. What are they going to do from third party deals, from indies, all of that stuff? How are they going to bring some other day one stuff, which they do on top of their first party offerings every single year? Now, Xbox, of course, they own Doom, and with that comes one of the most iconic franchises and characters in the Doom Slayer guy. And you take a look at him, you take a look at Master Chief, and they just kind of seem like a match made in heaven for some sort of crossover. A lot of people have been wanting this. I've talked about how this would be super cool if they were able to take their franchises and do some crossover events, do some crossover games and stuff. Like, there's so much that they could pull out of this. Imagine if they made like a Super Smash Brothers game with all of the Xbox characters. They have so many characters to do that with. And they were presented an opportunity here with Secret Level, the creators of Secret Level. As you know, that is on Amazon Prime, and they make a mini series here of about a bunch of different games, all these different episodes. Like, they have Dungeons and Dragons and Warhammer and Mega Man and Pac-Man and many other things. They also have the Outer Worlds in there. So they've already given over, they're using Xbox IP for the show, but apparently they approached Xbox and were listened to make a Secret Level Halo Doom crossover. So this says here, Secret level creators say they wanted to do a Halo Doom crossover, but Xbox turned them down, and Valve also turned down a Half-Life episode, which to me is just a saddening because that would have been super cool to see. This is from Collider, and they say, so we made a big plea because of one of the things both Tim and I would love to do is do something that isn't currently available in the games, like crossovers. We wanted to make a Master Chief / Doom Slayer crossover episode, and I spent a whole weekend crafting this impassioned letter on my childhood, and this is exactly what Tim said. They were like, nah. So they obviously looked at it, they thought about it, and said, no, we don't want to do this. And that's very disappointing for me, who would love to see that. I'm sure disappointing for a lot of people that would love to see that crossover. Think it is a very good idea. I wonder what the reasoning behind not wanting to do this was. I can't really think of anything too concrete other than maybe they don't want the first crossover of Halo versus Doom being done by somebody else. Maybe they want to do it themselves and they want to make sure that it is done the way that they foresee it and what their vision is. So that could have been a reason why they rejected, or maybe they have no intentions whatsoever of having Halo and Doom crossover into a universe. They didn't want to put those expectations out there for gamers clamoring for it and then never being able to deliver on. Those are probably the only two reasons why I think that they would say no to that. But we will never really know why they would have rejected this, because they would have made some money off of this. They would have licensed them out to the creators here, and however well it does on Amazon Prime, I'm sure there is some money to be made in that, and you would think that that would be a no-brainer and just an easy opportunity to jump into. But we will never know the exact reason why they decided not to do it, other than maybe just, again, keeping their IPs close to their chest and wanting to make sure that they can handle the way that this crossover may take place in the future. I just think it's a no-brainer. You could easily do this. You could add this into either game and have maybe some DLC with both characters, and it would be incredible. Or just make a own standalone, like, side little thing. People would just lose their minds if they ever decided to go ahead and do a crossover universe between Halo and Doom. So fingers crossed it still comes, and hopefully this isn't a sign that it's never going to happen, but I guess we'll wait and see. Okay, so obviously the biggest game to be released this generation is going to be GTA 6, and it's supposed to be coming out this year, but I mean, there's still some questions as to whether this game is going to get delayed or not. Right now, if I had to take a wild guess, I would be guessing this game is going to be pushed to 2026. They haven't shown anything again for it for an entire year. You have developers and publishers waiting to announce their release date, so absolutely nobody knows potentially when this thing is going to release. And I just wouldn't be surprised if this happens, but fingers crossed that it doesn't and we all get to play GTA 6 in 2025. But irrelevant as to when it releases, is a relevant piece of information, because no matter what happens here, it's going to be huge. It's going to make a ton of money, and everybody's going to be jumping in, and it's all going to be on the console. That's the other major talking point here, is how are they going to optimize this thing for the console, especially with what you have seen recently with the whole Black Myth Wukong thing, which we don't even know 100% what the correct information for that is. But I think Rockstar will be fine. They've already said there shouldn't be any issues. They're a much more experienced developer, have way more resources. So comparing game science to Rockstar really doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But they're going to be making a ton of money off this game. It's all going to be from the consoles within the first year. And analysts here are saying that they're going to be making over $3 billion in its first year on sale, which is just absolutely insane. This is from the Financial Times, based on an analysis by video game research group DFC Intelligence, predicting that GTA 6 will exceed $1 billion in pre-orders before it even launches. And it says here, surprising no one, GTA 6 is expected to be the biggest entertainment launch of 2025, ahead of any movie or competing video game. And again, the question is, will it be 2025 or not? It doesn't matter when this game releases. It will be the biggest entertainment release. It is a phenomenon. I mean, you even look right now with GTA 5 and the GTA Online, just how much money that still brings in. I guess that is also the other question. What are they going to be doing with their online service? Are they just going to be expanding upon it and adding in GTA 6 content, and maybe you upgrade it and you get the better visuals and whatever the new version does bring with the new consoles? But this is going to be crazy. Hopefully we get an announcement soon. I mean, they're going to have to eventually give a release date to start with their whole prepping for the release of it and start to take pre-orders. They're not going to take pre-orders before they give us that release date. But if I would say, because it's so popular, they can literally announce it a few months before and it'll still make this amount of money. But I do believe, based off of everything it's kind of being hinted at here, it's probably going to be delayed to 2026. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong, but we will end up seeing. And then we have this here, which is super cool. because I'm excited for the Nintendo Switch 2. I think it's going to be a nice upgrade from the current Nintendo Switch. Nothing mind-blowing. You see the rumors about the PS4 Pro type of power. Maybe it'll be less than that. Maybe it'll be on the lines of the PS4 or the Xbox One power. But either way, for Nintendo, it doesn't really matter. The power conversation kind of is irrelevant for how well this thing is going to do. But one thing that Nintendo does have that both Xbox and PlayStation don't have is that they work here with NVIDIA, and NVIDIA has DLSS, which for a lot of people's money, it is the best upscaling technology out there. And we have more leaks here that their motherboard and their SoC could be using NVIDIA's DLSS 4K upscaling, which would really be helpful for the Nintendo Switch 2, and I think would be an awesome feature to be added. So it says here that Nintendo Switch 2 leaked motherboard analysis suggests that the SoC uses Samsung's 5nm node and NVIDIA DLSS 4K upscaling mentioned in the new patent. So there's also been patents that have been coming out here. I mean, the leaks for the Switch 2 have been fast and furious over the last number of weeks. You have to ask how many of these are real, how many of these are true. A lot of them do sound kind of real and do sound true, especially the ones of the dock that was gone through like a lot of AI catching technology to see if the pictures were fake or not. And those do seem real. And this one here would make sense. I mean, if you're Nintendo, you want to use DLSS. You want to be able to use that technology so you can keep the cost low on the hardware itself. You're not putting in like crazy power or anything, but you're still giving that nice upgrade from the current Nintendo Switch using that AI upscaler. And that would be perfect. Most people will be absolutely okay with that, with no issues if it does work properly. But they say here, following the release of pictures showcasing the next Nintendo's system's motherboard, multiple users have been looking at the components to try and understand more about the console before its official reveal. And according to an analysis on Fami boards, as reported on the Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit, there is enough evidence to suggest the Switch 2 SoC uses a Samsung 5nm process node, not the 8nm process node. And then they also go on here to say that another Nintendo Switch 2 feature that has been rumored for a long time, but obviously has not been confirmed yet, is NVIDIA DLSS support from the patent here that has been filed. It does strongly suggest that they will support the AI upscaler technology, whose obviously main goal is upscaling to 1080p and 4K resolutions from a much lower input resolution, which would be massive and absolutely needed here for the Nintendo Switch if they want any chance of giving higher resolutions for their games. Because you know Nintendo isn't going to bring raw power to their platform or to their console. They just don't need to, and they want to keep the prices low. So having DLSS in there doing upscaling, giving you a nice resolution if you're playing on a 4K display on a 4K screen once it's in the dock and everything, it'll just be a very nice upgrade from the Nintendo Switch. And I think it would push a lot of people who have 4K displays to go and upgrade their Nintendo Switch console, especially with the fact that it is backwards compatible. I know for myself, the Switch is a portable console, but I play most of my Switch attached to my TV, which is kind of unfortunate because I have the OLED Switch, and the draw of the OLED Switch is the actual screen itself. But I just find myself still being that old school kind of gamer who likes to sit back on his couch, pick up a controller and play. So I do have it attached to the TV and I use it a lot. So if I get 4K out of it upscaled, that will be just phenomenal for me. I'll be picking up the Switch 2 day one regardless as to whatever the specs are, because I do really enjoy my Nintendo consoles. But we will see here if NVIDIA DLSS is added. I think that will be a big game changer. And finally, let's talk about this because I think this is great, and I hope PlayStation does end up doing this. I mean, they should. I don't know why they haven't, other than it's probably very hard to emulate the PS3 because of the cell architecture and everything that went into that console, which was a major issue when the PS3 did launch. It did hold the games back from doing well right at the start. We have this here saying that PlayStation Classic Studio says it's dreaming about PS3 emulation. And this was spotted on Reddit. The studio recently updated the roadmap for its Syrup engine, which powers many of the classic games on PlayStation Plus, which for PS3 and some of these older games, you can only stream them via their cloud service. But they also include here in their Dreaming About section, researching and prototyping the possibility of a PlayStation 3 emulator package. Implicit Conversions worked directly with Sony to bring the PS1 titles to the PS5, and previously its co-founder worked on PS2 emulation for the PlayStation 4. So they're dreaming about it. It's all going to come down to the dollars and cents at the end of the day. I mean, they can dream about it all they want, but until PlayStation gives the green light and says, yes, we will get people playing this. We will be able to make money off this. We will increase our subscriptions and subscribers into PlayStation Plus if we bring over some PlayStation 3 emulation. They're not going to end up doing it whatsoever. They obviously look at the numbers, and the one thing with backwards compatibility, for the gamer's perspective, it is very consumer friendly to have a full suite of backwards compatibility, which is why I really praise Xbox at the beginning of this generation with what they were trying to do. I wish they would bring back their backwards compatibility program, but the reality is, if these companies want to make more money, they want to cut costs, it's going to be the backwards compatibility stuff probably that they end up cutting first, because the money just isn't there. They're not going to spend all this money to bring emulation for a few amount of people that will end up playing PlayStation 3 games on their PlayStation 5. I mean, it may be bigger than I think about it in my head, but most of the money is going to be coming out from new games, from their games as a service that they're trying to work on and they're hoping will succeed. But from a consumer-friendly perspective, and from my perspective as just a person who wants to play these games on his PS5 natively, I just absolutely hope that this does happen, because game preservation is a big concern right now. And this could be one of those solutions that helps preserve some of these titles that just can't pick up anywhere. If you have the disc, you pop it in, works on your PS5, it would just be an awesome thing here added to the PlayStation 5. But I'll end the video there, guys. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. If you are new, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. We'll be right back.